You ever plug your guitar in and strike that perfect chord and think, yep, nailed it, that's the perfect tone. And the next day, same rig, same settings, and it sounds like somebody stuffed a pillow in your speaker cab. Yeah, that's not your gear falling apart. That's your ears lying to you. So buckle up, as today we're going slightly technical on the topic of how your perception can completely distort your tone and what to do about it. We're unpacking 5 subtle, sneaky ways of how your ears and your brain can influence and change the way how your rig is sounding today. When you're standing in front of your amp, you're not hearing your amp in some kind of pure and honest form. You're hearing a tone sculpted by floor reflections, comb filtering, standing waves, and your exact position of your head. Tilt your head to the side just a little bit and you will change how you perceive the high frequencies. This is a reality. And here's the kicker. If you're listening to something on YouTube, for example, this same amplifier, the same cabinet that somebody is miking up in their room, what you're actually hearing is their version of the lie. Unless this particular sound is recorded in a treated space, phase aligned and yada yada yada, and you're listening to all of that in a treated space and calibrated speakers and stuff like that, you are getting a curated performance. Now, some of these sounds that you hear on YouTube are useful in different ways, but I just thought you should know this before you start basing your buying decisions on what you hear on a speaker that's this big on your smartphone. Most people think that EQ is tone shaping. You scoop the mids, you boost the highs, done, voila. But EQ changes how your amplifier feels actually. Cut some low mids and your attack is going to feel tighter, more responsive. Boost the wrong frequencies and suddenly your amplifier is going to feel lazy, slow and smeared, even though it's going to sound okay. And the rabbit hole goes deeper. In a tube amp, everything interacts. Power supply, sag, transformer saturation, speaker resonance, it all nudges the EQ a little bit in real time. What feels like a dynamic response is often just subtle rebalancing of frequencies. So no, you are not crazy if your amplifier feels different at different EQ settings. It probably is. When you're in a quiet room, your ears do what they're designed to do. They focus on what's pleasant. Big lows, sweet highs, not too much mid-range. Sounds great. But the second you enter a mix, your brain switches modes and now suddenly it's hunting for what's missing. This is classic psychoacoustics. Our auditory system highlights contrast. That scooped bedroom tone that you loved, it disappears on stage because the bass and the cymbals already occupy those regions. Your ears don't care what's nice anymore, they care what's useful. That's why a tone that sounds flat on its own can sound absolutely great in a band mix. Your brain's running an algorithm and it's prioritizing survival over aesthetics, and this is just one situation in which you can clearly see this happening. Now, if you find this video useful, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, it keeps me going, and go check out the Slightly Technical Academy, because over there I've got tech pages. Registration is for free. There's some cool free Tonex packs, and you can also support the channel by buying some of these full Tonex packs, which are currently on a 30% discount, and that stuff actually sounds amazing, so go check it out and be on the lookout for some of the courses that are upcoming. This one might be strange a little bit, but your memory of what your tone sounded like, it's almost never accurate. Auditory memory is one of the shortest forms of recall that we have as humans, and on average it lasts about a few seconds. After that, your brain starts filling in the blanks based on assumptions, expectations, or even your mood. So when you say, "I swear it probably sounded better yesterday," well, probably didn't. It just sounded different and your brain adapted. Maybe you were standing in a slightly different spot. Maybe you were fresher. Or just maybe, you were a little bit more excited to playing guitar that day. And here's where it becomes a big problem. People start making gear or mix decisions based on these shifting perceptions. But without reference recording, no matter how rough, you're basically chasing ghosts. This is why serious players and engineers record everything. Not to post, not to brag, but to keep track of what's real. Because memory can't be trusted when perception is this fluid. And your tone, as good as it might have been, is as real as the data you keep. This is where things get psychoacoustic and slightly spooky. Your brain can hear bass even if it isn't there, thanks to the missing fundamental effect. When you play a note, your brain reconstructs the fundamental frequency based on the harmonic series. That's why a guitar cab that rolls off below 80 Hz, for example, still sounds full, because your brain is doing some really advanced math and reconstructing the missing part. But here's where the people go wrong. They try to force low end into some space that doesn't need it and doesn't really support it. Boosting a lot of low end in your guitar tone doesn't make your tone fatter, it makes it flubbier in most cases. It competes with the bass guitar, it muddies the mix, and it's kind of slows down everything. The takeaway? Don't EQ the low end based on what you want to hear. EQ it based on what actually contributes to the clarity and the presence. Basically turn the bass up, and at the point when you hear something changing in the presence, that's where you stop. And you can even go back a little bit. Chasing tone is not about chasing sound, it's about understanding how we perceive sound. And once you understand how your ears actually work, how they adapt, how they deceive, you actually stop doing the guesswork and you start hearing correctly. If this actually helped clarify something, or if you had situations when your ears deceived you, write it down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video.